Now then, I'm joined by local Edinburgh whisky enthusiast Cameron. Delighted that you could join us here, Cameron.
Thanks
And we're
for having
also
me, Laurie.
joined by the iconic Macallan 12-year-old. I assume this is an expression you're fairly familiar with.
Absolutely. It's one of my favourite Speyside whiskies, certainly. Macallan, it's got a really special place in my heart.
Okay.
My grandfather used to drink it, so it's a
Nice,
bottle that
yeah.
I'm familiar seeing since I was sort of 3 years old.
Yeah.
4 foot tall. You know?
Yeah, not 4 foot tall anymore. I feel
No.
But it's Macallan, obviously, for so many years has been, an icon of single malt. What are the things that come to mind for you when somebody mentions?
So yeah, you mentioned it there. They are the iconic single malt brand.
Yep.
The Macallan distillery up in
Yep.
East Ellice's in
Yep.
Speyside. It's such an attractive postcode. And then the care they go to sort of produce their whiskey is unparalleled. The 6 pillars of production, their finest cut. They take in that real slither of the purest spirit.
Yeah.
The casks that they use, they nurture from acorn to oak cask, owning the forest where the wood comes from.
Yeah.
It's just, there's no other company putting that care into producing a whiskey.
It's the whole process, the whole story. They just own every aspect of it, don't
Absolutely.
they? And it's, quality has always been the number one priority. This particular one is, as we say, the 12-year-old expression. This particular labelling, I suppose, I think was discontinued 2018, give or take. I think in recent years, obviously whiskey's become very popular and has perhaps changed into more, I'm reluctant to say a status symbol, but Macallan is, referred to as the Rolls Royce.
Yeah, for sure. You get those people that will walk into a bar and they'll be adventurous with other things in their life, but stick to the Macallan brand. I'll have a dram of Macallan 12 or a Macallan 18. See it as exactly that status symbol, the same as the watch on their wrist almost.
Yes, yeah.
But behind all of that, there is fantastic liquid in the bottle. So it serves them well in 2 respects almost.
Absolutely. In terms of the sort of classic Macallan style, you mentioned the 6 pillars they've got, and one of them is the curiously small stills they use. What sort of character does that give to their spirit?
So these stills, they are some of the smallest in the industry, and you think of Macallan as being this behemoth of a distillery. They are, but they've got 36 stills up at the distillery currently. The stills, because they're so short, they drive a really oily, really sort of dense spirit.
Sure.
And that carries the maturing in sherry cask really, really, really well.
Yeah, because that sherry influence, which we'll hopefully taste very shortly, is so well suited to just a big spirit. I've tried some whiskies which are, a very light and delicate spirit, and they're just overwhelmed by a heavy PX influence or Oloroso influence.
Yeah, for sure.
But Macallan really stands up to it, doesn't it?
I feel like you always know when you're drinking a Macallan. That spirit pairs so well with those casks, and you taste it, and there could be 100 other whiskies aged the exact same way. You'd be like, yeah, that's a sherry matured whiskey. But when you drink a Macallan, that's a Macallan.
Yeah,
I know that one's a Macallan.
Grade A stuff. So let's open this and give it a little try and see if it lives up to our high expectations.
Excellent.
Let's open. Right. There we go. So, obviously when tasting whiskey, it's always good to have a little glance at the colour of it, first of all.
Yeah, for sure.
Sherried whiskies, typically, obviously a bit darker, some sort of mahogany notes coming through. Would you say it's fairly evident in this 12-year-old that it's had a strong...
It's got that beautiful, like you say, mahogany or almost copper colour, and that coming from the Macallan distillery, we know that's a natural colour as well. There's no added colouring in that. It's got that, that beautiful hue to it, you know.
Yeah, and this one, obviously it's the 12-year-old expression. As we know, this means it spent at least 12 years in sherry casks.
Yeah.
They may use slightly older casks to give it a bit more depth, but yeah, I think there's been so much discussion about age statements in the last few years, but sometimes it is nice to have that sort of reassurance that it is
Definitely.
X.
Yeah,
X
definitely.
years.
It's good to see Macallan return to this age statement as well. They spent the whole of the 80s telling the whiskey drinking community that age was important,
Yes, yeah.
age was everything.
Yeah.
Then the whole of the 2000s telling the whiskey community that age wasn't relevant and it was all about the cask. And now they've found this beautiful balance where we see 12-year-old sherry oak and 12-year-old double cask
Yes.
released in harmony,
Yeah.
along with their sort of 18s and 25s and
Yeah.
everything else. But it's great to see a return to the age,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. We'll give this one a little nose. This one is bottled at 40% on the nose, 40%. I think,
Very drinkable whiskey at that strength, you know.
so it was a very easy defence for a watered down whiskey. It's very drinkable.
Yeah.
But I think for a whiskey like this that has that body and that depth to it, obviously, at a higher strength is sometimes quite nice, but you're not going to get bored at 40%.
No.
I think, as we say, Macallan is an icon. It's a global brand. They need their product to be in every market in the world. They need people to enjoy it when they taste it and not get their head blown off.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can understand why 40% was chosen.
For sure. I don't think you're losing out on much having that because of the strength of their sort of character, spirit, and the quality of the cask that they use. So you're still getting very full-bodied, very sort of rich, spiced whiskey without having all that alcohol really just taking over.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's so much on the nose. It's kind of, there's that spiciness. It's almost a chocolatiness for me. Obviously all the dried fruits aromas that you'd expect with sherry casks.
Yeah. It's that old cliche, the Christmas cake.
Christmas cake in a glass with a Terry's chocolate orange.
For sure.
All those things.
For sure.
Shall we give it a try?
Absolutely. Slange, good health.
It's got a lovely, I'd say, mouthfeel is the first thing that jumps out to me. It's just, coats your tongue, packed full of flavour, but as we said, it being at 40% in a way is quite nice. Not having to,
Yeah, for sure. It's I like whiskey, slightly lower in alcohol. So this is a very inviting whiskey for me.
Yeah.
It's inviting me back, and I could quite easily have a couple of these and not notice.
Yeah, I think whiskey should always be about the flavour. I think sometimes people become fixated on, the strength and the kind of intensity of the experience. But I think the last few months I've got quite into like older blends from 70s, whatever, and they're all at 40%.
All at 40%.
All at 40%, and it's fine because they're got a great malt content. They've got a touch of smokiness to it, whatever. It's just a nice, tasty thing to drink, and for me, this very much falls into that same category.
Yeah.
I'd say would you say the finish sort of lingers? Often with watered down whiskey, sometimes it can filter away.
It does probably more than you would expect for something at 40%. It's got that sort of oiliness in the spirit that it hangs about your mouth a little bit longer than you would expect. It's not evaporating off the tongue as soon as you have a little taste of it.
Yeah, so. No, it's a lovely drop. And I think with this being a Macallan from kind of at least 5 years ago now, do you feel that this particular expression they had perhaps more active sherry casks than modern day
quite
12-year-old
possibly
sherry casks?
Yeah, quite possibly. This sort of livery, if you will, this presentation of the Macallan is so iconic, and when they moved over to the slightly more modern looking bottles, the industry is a bit sceptical. Is it the same liquid being bottled? Is it not?
Sure.
12-year-old today still stacks up.
Yeah.
It's a delicious whiskey.
Yeah.
are we looking at this and thinking, oh, that's better because it's in an older bottle?
Yeah, whiskey's so psychological, isn't it? It's so easy to be influenced and think, older stuff's better.
Absolutely.
And get nostalgic. But, how this compares to the modern day 12, both are good, I would say, is a fair summary. But I think for kind of modern day Macallan drinkers who criticise it as being, it's just a lifestyle brand, they're not bothered about whiskey, give them a try this, because this is delicious whiskey.
For sure.
Yeah, loads of flavour, lovely mouthfeel to it, nice sort of lingering finish. Yeah,
and the brand are obviously still committed to producing that quality, spending £180 million on a new distillery.
Yeah.
That's a fairly hefty commitment to producing a very high quality spirit and dram, for sure.
Yeah. But no, it's beautiful stuff, and one I'd always be happy to go back to, I think.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Cheers.
Cheers.